Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Creation Nation podcast. I am Justin. Nice to meet you. And with me are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel. Happy to be on the Creation Nation podcast.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm also happy to be here on the podcast.
Awesome. All right. So, what have you guys been working on in your creative projects? Oh, and also, what kind of mediums do you identify with, and what kind of genres do you like? What kind of works do you think are the best kind of art out there, or the things that you gravitate towards?
Yeah, things I try and do are comic strips. So I have two comic strips I've kind of been publishing on and off online as web comics. First one is Fence Comics, which is really my baby. I've been drawing it since I was 8 years old, and it's always what I wanted to do full time. It hasn't worked out that way, unfortunately. I haven't really devoted enough time to it, but I'm hoping to try and get back into the groove and at least put it out there and have more of it done in the future. Second set is Cotton Clad Comics, which is another comic strip, but it's more in the vein of adventure comics like Terry and the Pirates and that sort of thing. Serialized comic strips devoted to a variety of genres. So I just wrapped up the first little story I had published, which was about a superhero in Atlanta. But gonna branch off to something more diverse here shortly. But for me, the pinnacle of media will always be the comic strip. It's just something which has always enthralled me ever since I was little. Love making them, love reading them. They're just always entertaining. So whether it be humor or adventure or anything.
What do you think? Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, you good.
What stands out about comics specifically?
I don't know. The first thing which stands out is they're just bite-sized. So you have to have a concise storyline. You have to have be able to relate ideas in 3 or 4 panels is what you really are limited to. And I think there's something freeing in that. Really, it forces you to work under pressure and compress your ideas down, simplify your ideas. A lot of people have talked about how that's the strength of the comic strip, especially humor comic strips, is that they kind of distill the world into something pure. So a good example of that would be Calvin and Hobbes or Peanuts, where they take these ideas, simple ideas, almost childlike ideas, and make them very profound in ways that you wouldn't be able to grasp if they were related to you in a more complex way. And that's just not a one-off thing. They repeatedly did that throughout their careers. Charles Schulz, he did that for 49 years. Calvin and Hobbes, I forget how long that ran. 7 years, 6 years. Probably wrong on that, but the same thing. He was able to, make profound points in 3 or 4 panels. So, and sometimes he can make a profound point in one panel. Just making people reflect on life a little more thoroughly.
Yeah, I suppose when you have like less content, then there's more like implication and more subtle. There's more subtlety to it. It's kind of like Zen art, I guess, where they are like say like the less is more. Like you draw less, and it actually says more because the more content you put, you're actually limiting the imagination of the viewer and that kind of idea. That's kind of what that reminded me of.
Yeah, and it's not to say that you can't have great art in comic strips, because Calvin and Hobbes, he certainly did have great art. Little Nemo in Slumberland, that's another example of a comic strip which could be pretty profound, and just the illustrations are breathtaking if you go back and look at them today. But certainly they are limited in what they can relate due to size constraints. That really forces the artist to make every line count, make every word count as well, which is something you don't see with comics today. They're kind of bloated, meaningless.
Do you mean the like comic books or the kind of 4-panel stuff?
Well, A lot of them, both really. Pick up the newspaper comic strips today, and they're pretty bad. Honestly, they're not funny. They're not even charming. Sometimes you'll find one which is cute, or you can get a chuckle out of, but they've really lost the sense of wonder that comics should relate. It's just business as usual almost. Yeah, and at the end of the day, they're supposed to make people laugh, and I don't know if they're doing that anymore.
Do you think, as far as the newspaper comics are concerned, some of them have just been going for way too long and they've just run out of fresh ideas?
Yeah, I think that's some of the case, but not all of it. Certainly, there are new comic strips that have popped up, and they aren't funny as well. Or newer comic strips. We're not talking about Beetle Bailey from the 1950s. We're talking about Luann, which started, I guess, in the late 80s or late 90s. I guess I'd have to check on that, but she's not funny. Most of the new comic strips, they are just not funny. Pearls for Swine was an exception. He breathed fresh air in the early 2000s in the comics. I think around 2005 is when he became syndicated, but he's no longer funny either. They've, I don't know what it's going to take. Charles Schulz, and it's not a matter of comics, longevity of the comic strip affecting its quality. Charles Schulz was just as funny in 1999 as he was in 1960. He produced comics for 49 years, I think, that's correct. But he produced comics for nearly half a decade, and they were just as good the day he retired as they were the day he started. So there's something to be said about the quality of the cartoonist.
Yeah. Do you think maybe a lot of the
they're good artists, and they're probably, working with what they're given, but I don't know.
Yeah, do you think a lot of the promising new types are focusing on web comics?
Yeah, I think. Your chances of getting syndicated nationally, they're like King Features or any of those, if King Features is even still around, is minimal. You're probably more likely to get hit by a bus than you are to get syndicated in a newspaper. And the newspapers are dying anyway, so nobody's really, there's no demand there. So yeah, I think the web comic is something people are going to gravitate to and have gravitated to. Problem with that, I think, is often we don't see comic strips being promoted as heavily as they should be on web comics. Certainly there are exceptions to that, but for the most part, they seem to be devoted to more comic issues.
Yeah, I guess memes have kind of moved into that space, or that demand, like where it'll be like either I guess they do have the comics that are like maybe 4, and then they'll often become like a template for people to fill in their own material or something like that. But I don't really follow those very closely.
And you have what is it, Shen Comics, and you have Cyanide and Happiness and all these other comic strips. But like Cyanide and Happiness, that is not I wouldn't consider that a good comic. It's, number one, the art is horrible. I have minimal artistic talent, and I could outdraw that guy in his sleep if he's giving an effort. Secondly, the ideas they relate, sometimes they can be funny, but they're certainly not beautiful. They don't relate anything good, I would say.
Well, the internet does seem to have a very strong interest in like apathy and negativity. I've noticed. I'm not sure why, but that's something
I guess
we will definitely explore on this podcast, is the modern aesthetics and why they're interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a good topic.
Yeah, and I didn't realize there was so much to talk about with just comics themselves, but it sounds like we've got a lot to talk about in the future.
Oh yeah, there and so many good cartoonists to bring up. People have forgotten about. That would be a lot of fun.
Righty,
yeah. Well, how about you, Daniel? What have you?
I've also.
Oh yeah, what's your artistic world all about?
I was gonna say I've also delved into comics a little bit. So when I was growing up, I would read the comics in the newspapers, and I would make my own. Well, we would make our own, Justin, when we were younger, like our own little kind of copies of the comic strips in the newspapers. And one I kind of ran with for a while was my Egbert comic. At one point, I had a pretty decent stack of Egbert comic strips, and they were unfortunately lost when I loaned them to a guy in high school who never returned them. But anyway, I made some more. And I found those recently, so that was kind of cool. Dug those out of the past. Um, and yeah, that this was Egbert was kind of neat because when I was in college at Belmont Abbey in North Carolina, I was working for the school newspaper, and I actually had the idea of making like a comic strip for the school newspaper. So we did that, and my comic was featured there, and then got another student to put her comic in. That was kind of cool. I don't know if they kept doing that after I graduated or not, but yeah, I did have my comic in the school newspaper for a few issues. Fun. Um, and Egbert is kind of like a slice of life type deal. It's kind of like some humor elements and just kind of lighthearted, kind of fun characters and such. And then more recently, I've been doing something which is more like a comic book. It's called Doracum, and it's a bit more like a serious kind of a comic with some action and kind of drama elements and stuff like that. And I just I'm hoping to have really kind of complex, fleshed out characters, and like interesting kind of political situations and stuff like that. That one's still kind of in its infancy.
Yeah. So yeah, your art style is very. I don't know. What do you call it? An art style?
Surreal. Yeah, I'd say it's an art style. It's very surreal. It's
good. And Egbert's like stick people, but
Yeah.
But the thing is that that I thought was very interesting, and the reason why I encourage you to kind of put it out there, even though it looks so bonkers, is that your writing is so unique. You can't confuse it with anything else. It's like it's just perfectly unique. It blows my mind, really.
Yeah, I wish I had more time to work on stuff, but lately I've been like totally wiped out with work and other such things, unfortunately.
We're all in like the worst work situation right now. But next year,
two of us are lawyers.
Yeah. Yeah, these two are lawyers. I'm an ALT. Not really the same level of intensity, I think. But
yeah, and explain to the listeners what an ALT is, because I don't know if everyone would know the acronym.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I don't know the acronym.
An ALT is it means assistant language teacher. So basically, I am an English teacher in Japan.
Sweet. That sounds like fun.
Well, it's fun for the first few months until everyone expects you to get more understanding of the kind of weird work culture, and I think I'm just not an employee at heart. That's why I'm, trying to get stuff like this started. I hate working for people. I can't stand it.
But be your own boss.
Yeah. It seems like something that I feel kind of called to do is to break out of the employee mindset where you feel like you have to, I got to go to work, got to get the money. There's other ways to make money besides working for someone else. So I've been learning about that recently. I'm getting really pumped. Looking forward to this contract ending and what's going to happen after that. There'll be more Creation Nation podcast episodes, especially. That's for sure. But obviously, I have I'm not going to be too idealistic about specifically the Creation Nation podcast or anything. But I'm an idealist in a broad sense. So there'll be many things to do in the near future. But Daniel, what would you say is the best kind of pinnacles of art that you aspire to, that you respect, I guess?
Ooh, that's a good
I mean,
question.
I see you've got a
Um,
your pictures like Rembrandt. I don't know if.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, Rembrandt is one of the greats. I appreciate artists who like can actually draw human figures that look attractive, well proportioned, and like, well, I mean, this dude here is just plain handsome, and his outfit is like fantastic. Plus, like, so obviously I'm excluding Picasso, who's
Late Picasso. Early Picasso was actually really good.
Yeah, I guess famous Picasso. Yeah, I prefer good looking people in my art. Bouguereau is another. I'm a big fan
Oh,
of Bouguereau.
oh yeah.
What
Yeah,
about
William
like
Adolphe Bouguereau.
You got good taste. Marcus Stone. That's another one.
Marcus Stone. What's a famous painting by him that I might
Oh
recognize?
well, now you put me on the spot. I can't name anything in particular, but he did a lot of the romantic, like Arthurian type paintings. If I'm,
Oh, like that one where that woman is like knighting a guy.
yeah, that may be Marcus Stone. I'd have to check. Now I feel, yeah, I was like, oh, Marcus Stone. You're like, oh, what's a painting? I'm like, oh, no. Yeah, but no.
That's all right. I have Google at my fingertips. So
oh
yeah, Marcus. Oh yeah, this looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I kind of like that idealistic kind of like idyllic landscapes and peaceful people having in beautiful surroundings. Like that's what you would want to look at to like elevate your soul or your spirit, whatever. Yeah.
oh yeah, we're definitely gonna need
Um.
to talk about in the future like what is beautiful stuff. I mean, I know it's like a massive topic that has been like
Oh
something
yeah,
people have
yeah.
discussed for thousands of years, but why not here too?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's as far as art goes. When I was younger, I was a huge fan of Henri Rousseau, and I do think that his jungle paintings are super fun. The only problem is his when he draws humans, they're just not that great.
Well,
Nice. Someone's gonna find you somewhere and like attack you like, yeah, how dare you say that his people don't look good.
he, he was the best.
I do really love his jungle paintings. They're pretty fun. Yeah, and that's as far as paintings go. But I'm not like particularly like a painting connoisseur. Um, yeah, I kind of like a little bit, but as far as like other media, yeah, let's see. I mean, with movies, I mostly just like things that I do like movies that are kind of like different aesthetically. Like there's this one movie I watched that was pretty neat called The Fall, which
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Justin, yeah, you introduced me to that movie, and that's actually something I wouldn't mind rewatching at some point. I feel like there's a lot in that movie. Um, and there's probably stuff in it I missed.
Oh well, let's
But
totally.
aesthetically, it was very interesting.
Yeah, we need to before we do one of these episodes, is all of us watch it and then we talk about it in the episode. Hey Chris,
Yes,
have you seen that movie? I mean,
yes.
Jacob, have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I'll have to check it out.
okay. It'll be on our big watch list of
And
things
honestly,
to
yeah.
discuss.
And then I like Star Wars. That's
Oh
fun.
right.
Old or new? You're that Kathleen Kennedy fanboy, ain't you?
No. Um, yeah, I like the first six, and Rogue One. I thought actually was really good. Rogue One was a solid movie.
Rogue One messed up the first film, though, or Star Wars Episode 4.
Rogue
How
One
so?
was gritty and downbeat.
Well, because in Rogue One, the Empire knows they've taken the plans, right? Or they've been attacked. They know the Tantive 4 was there, right? Because it was above the planet.
Yes.
And then they jettison away, and then Darth Vader catches the Tantive 4, and then he's like, "What have you done with the plan?" And Princess Leia, an idiot, is like, "Oh, I don't know anything about any plans," even though her ship
This
was
is a
just
consular ship.
in a battle. Yeah, no, it was just in the battle. So
Yeah,
it
no, you're right.
really
You're
makes her
right.
come across as being not that bright. Whereas if you just go like with vanilla Star Wars or Lucas Star Wars, yeah, they were beamed on board her ship, and then the Empire intercepted the message or whatnot, or had spies of their own, and yeah, then attacked it. It makes the rebellion look a lot more guilty in the new way.
Well, you make a very good point, Jacob. But that the droid was really amusing to me.
uh,
I
I
also
don't.
thought I also thought that the characters were mostly pretty decent.
I thought the main character chick was kind of cute, but I don't really remember much about that movie except that some guy gets like tentacled or something, like in the hentai kind of way. I think.
Yeah, it's like an interrogation technique.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that movie very much.
Disclosure, I've not seen the movie. I've only watched portions of it, so I missed that
Ah,
particular part. I actually
right.
haven't seen any of the new Star Wars movies all the way through.
Ah,
Right. Oh, whoa,
I've
So,
seen them all the way through, except wait, yeah, I think all the full feature length ones. I think I did see all the way through.
yeah, I gave them the benefit of the doubt until I saw Last Jedi, and then I was out, and I haven't seen anything since.
uh, good call.
Yeah. Oh, so I guess I'll talk about me for a minute since we're gonna run out of time soon. Um, hey, I'm Justin. My what was the question that I was giving you guys?
Well,
What
we
what is
introduced. Oh, yeah. Well, first we were talking about what our hopes were for the channel. I think you answered that one, and then we were introducing the like our stuff we had worked on mostly, and
Oh,
then
right.
like
Yeah.
kind of what you think of as like the pinnacle of art or
Oh,
something
yes.
along those lines.
My idyllic vision of art is I think movies are the best thing out there that I can think of because it takes the hey, I don't know if you can really make art out of the other senses really. I mean, I'm sure some people will argue with me that like feeling and like touch or something and taste can be like art. And I guess like, if someone's, culinary arts, I get that, but I like good tasting stuff too, but I think films, it's the thing where you can combine visuals, story, and audio into something truly magnificent. However, I do think that very few movies have tapped the potential they can possibly have because I think most of them fall short on either visuals or story, and not really in technical prowess. Because obviously, they're the masters of filmmaking. People have perfected it, to the degree they have, and obviously there's a lot of people who are technically far superior to anything I'll ever be able to do. But I think that I personally have not been very interested in the content and subject matter of most movies that have been made in the history of film. So if I'm hanging around like film circles, there'll be people who are like, "Oh, like, you gotta watch The Godfather and stuff," and it's like, well, I just don't think that subject matter is very interesting. Like, so it's hard to. I don't really have film friends like when I was in the university or whatever because the interests are completely different. So, the I have made a few things with film, nothing particularly stand out, nothing I'd want to, I'd be proud to show people necessarily. But same as you guys, I've drawn some comics, and I've made a sort of half animated show. It's in the form of an animatic it's on YouTube, Animatic Stories channel, where I have something called Map of Heaven, which is based on a thing I came up with in university for a school project. It's pretty much a learning tool. So I'm still very much a student of the arts. I have very little to show yet. It's mostly I'm working on this thing, looking at what I did wrong, trying to get better. And I'm just, I'm in that stage, and what was I talking about?
What your hopes, projects are, etc.
Yes. So I will be talking about on this podcast following a little bit of the development of the Map of Heaven show, because it's kind of there to be a learning tool, like I was saying. So I'm very, very happy when people critique it and tell me, like, oh, what could you do better with the story or the characters and that sort of thing. So I think I focus less on the actual art, because I don't really like drawing all that much. I'm more of a script person. So the way I judge things is typically the writing. And however, sometimes a movie or a piece of work I'll find particularly aesthetically interesting, especially if it's unusual. I think
what would an example be of that?
Oh, an unusual aesthetic?
Yeah.
Well, I really liked Greatest Showman, actually, like the way it looks, because even though sometimes the special effects didn't look quite, fleshed out, I really liked the kind of warm colors, and I guess it exudes optimism, because a lot of movies are very dark, and
true.
I think a lot of people will be like, wow, look how well this movie captured this dark emotion, and it's like, well, sure, it captured the dark emotion really well, but I'm not interested in dark emotions, so I don't like it. And then, yeah. So I think there's a lot less of a film tradition that has tried to capture very positive energies. So I'm very interested to see what's possible with that, because I think I think they did a pretty good job back in the 50s and stuff, where there was a lot more of a respect of positivity in the arts, I guess. Whereas nowadays it's like, how grisly can you make it? Like, how depressed can you get your audience? And that's what makes it good. I guess.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's like
our observation.
Whenever the film people will sit around and be like, oh, like this is so good because you can really feel the insanity of this character, or like it really makes you want to go and kill somebody. Like, wow, that's some strong emotion. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
Do you want to depress your audience? I guess. I mean,
it's like, dude, after watching that film, I felt total despair.
Yeah. And then they wonder why everyone would rather go and watch goofy TikTok videos or something. Maybe that has something to do with it. Although a lot of the stuff people engage with on the internet, of course, is that suicide jokes and I have no future, my life sucks, I'm Squidward from SpongeBob, and yeah, it gives them a joy to think about how depressed they are, I guess, and they're elated. Anyway, I'm just sitting here whining. All right, so I will discuss my deepest, darkest thoughts in a more dignified manner in the future. But today is today. All right. So we're about out of time. Any quick closing statements?
Yeah, I'll say I also like The Greatest Showman. I have a fondness for good
Zendaya?
musicals.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh yes, yes. That's what I forgot to say. Is I love musicals, but I don't think very many good ones have been made. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, same. Looking forward to having seeing some positive media of our own in the future.
Yes.
Yee.
And we talk a big talk here, but we're all, of course, very open to criticizing ourselves and our own stuff, and it's all we're all very interested in discovering how good things can be, I guess.
Development is good.